You ready, Madam Clerk? Good evening, everyone. It is now 7 p.m. I will now call the City of Homestead City Council meeting to order. We will have the invocation with Pastor David Cleland of New Beginnings Christian Fellowship, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Police Explorers and Councilwoman Lobos. Please stand with me.
Let's pray together. Father, I'm thankful that I've been asked to pray before the beginning of these proceedings of this City Council meeting. Lord, I want to ask you to be here and to have influence over all that is done, all that is said, all the decisions that are made. And I pray for wisdom to know the right thing to do and to have the courage to be able to do it, and for discernment, to be able to look inside the depth of issues with understanding and with compassion. And Father, I pray for character, to be able to stand for what you believe, to stand for what you believe to be right, and then to take the right action to accomplish what needs to be done. You've given us a great city, a great community, and I pray that the things that happen tonight, the decisions that are made, will make it even better tomorrow than it has been today. As we pray in your name, amen.
Amen.
Left foot hard. Underarm, hope. Present arm.
Please join me in pledging our flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order arm. Right face. Over arm.
Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bell.
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Here.
Councilwoman Sierra.
Here.
Councilman Nelson.
Here.
Councilwoman Lobos.
Here.
Councilman McCormick.
Here.
Councilwoman Waldman. Here.
Additions, deletions, deferrals.
Yes, Madam Mayor, there's been a request by staff to defer item 6A, the Eastgate Business Park site plan.
Thank you. Are we deferring it to time certain or just deferring?
And also, Mayor, we're going to be deferring tab 6. That's the lubrication oil and fluids. Staff need to send it back to committee for further evaluation.
Thank you very much. Mr. Weiss, are we deferring to time certain on tab 6A?
Time
Yes, do we have
certain.
time?
Yes, July 20th.
July
20th of next
July
month.
20th.
July 20th. Okay, that's so noted. Thank you very much. Special presentations to New Beginnings Christian Fellowship. Pastor, please come forward. Surprise, surprise. This past May, we all celebrated Military Appreciation Month, and we've been honoring many of our military members. And our pastor was honored and written up with a wonderful article in the South Dade News Leader, and we thought it would be fitting in honor of Military Appreciation Month, as also being the honorary pastor of the Mayor and Council. We thought it would be very fitting to bring him here this evening. So we're honoring is that U.S. Master Sergeant, United States Master Sergeant?
U.S. Marine Corps.
U.S., I just told him myself, U.S. Marine Corps veteran David Cleland. And so, Councilman Lobos, and
Pastor Cleveland, we just on behalf of Mayor, City Council, and the City of Homestead, for many years you served in the Marine Corps, and we thank you for your service and appreciate everything that this country is because of your service. Thank you. I'm sorry, we usually invite the wife here too. Miss Sylvia Cleveland, can you please come and stand here? It's protocol, ma'am.
I just want to say that not only does David and Sylvia Cleland, not only did he serve this country well and serve the military well, but he also serves his community well, along with Sylvia Cleland, his wonderful wife. And we want to let them know how much we appreciate their work in the community as well as their service to our nation. Thank you.
You never give a Baptist pastor the microphone if you expect anything else to happen, so thank you very much.
Our next presentation is with Margie Buster with the Tropical Cornucopia. Margie, would you please come forward?
Good evening. My name is Margie Buster. I'm the president of Redland Tropical Gardens, and this evening it is with great pride that we would like to give appreciation certificates to many of the staff of the City of Homestead who went above and beyond to help create the first tropical cornucopia. And I can tell you, if my phone ringing off the hook for 3 weeks now is any indication, the growers, the professional growers that are the neighbors to Homestead have taken a great interest in this project. And for that, I thank the City of Homestead. If those could come, if those that I call their name could come to the front so that we could get a photo, because there's quite a few that helped us. This was a mammoth effort by the city, by Redland Tropical Gardens, by our committee, by our sponsors, by our mentor, by many people, the Greater Miami Host Committee. Everybody had come out to help us. And if you're interested, you can look on the website, www.theredland.org, and you will be very impressed with the people and the businesses who have started to pay attention to Homestead and this tropical cornucopia. First name, Mayor Linda Bell, Patricia Sullivan, Mike Shahada, Joanna Faddis, Lillian Delgado, Elizabeth Manguel, I probably mangled your name, Manguel, Carlos Alba, Lauren Yoder, Sherry Camilla, Tom Lambert, Sally Woods, Kathy Milford. I'm sorry, I've had laryngitis twice in the past couple of weeks. Priscilla Thompson, Robert Landon, Jenny Hoopner, Jenny Bravo, Milton Bailey, Leslie Beauvoir, Major Scott Kennedy. And let me grab them and I'll hand them out. Actually, it might be better if you came here and got them. Patty? Lillian?
You have to pay for those items.
Well, it's Kennedy behaving bad there at Publix. So the guy that's walking in is looking at me, looking at the steps, and he's knowing if he should stop me or what he should do. He's like, go. He's like, this thing. Bad boy. They weren't just shrink. Hit view. Zoom.
It is with great pride that we award these certificates to the small portion of staff. We'll leave the other certificates for those who couldn't be here this evening. And we'd like our photographer to take a picture. Cindy? Yes. Oh. And I'm going to join the group. And if everybody give a big round of applause for these people who went above and beyond. And thank you from the bottom of my heart and from our entire organization, from the committee who worked so hard to put this together, and it wasn't easy. Everything was complicated for whatever reason.
That's the date for next year.
We're looking at having Tropical Cornucopia on February 20th. It should help with tourism. The winter people should be here, as well as it'll give the growers a kick out the door and the community a real quick start.
Well, February 20th is an interesting day. That's my birthday, so.
We're going to have a big birthday party for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor Bell, I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next item.
Please.
Okay, thank you. May Brocio and Mauricio please join me? Do you know these people? Okay. The reason why I asked them Familia to be here today is because the mayor and I attended their grand reopening at their new location on Chrome Avenue, and they're offering better services, more services, I should say. And right now they're in the middle of their summer camp, Action in Action. Art in Action. I'll let them explain to you, and please tell us who's here with you. And afterwards, we have a very special treat by a very special person who just happens to be your daughter that I've seen perform many, many times. And she's just, let me tell you, some performers just take your breath away, and she takes my breath away every time I see her. So I asked her to come here and give us a treat. So after this presentation, we'll go ahead and do that.
Thank you. First of all, we'd like for En Familia staff to please stand up. We just want you to know who is the people responsible.
And also with us, we have the group of volunteer artists that are coming from different parts of the country, including Juilliard, to be with the students and work with the students in the summer camp. Would you please, the team of volunteers, to stand up? This is our 7th year that we have been offering the summer camp in the area, and needless to say, the impact on the students, it is just outstanding.
Mayor, can we have a picture with you?
Certainly. And I will tell everybody, when they have their closing show at the end of the summer, it's just, you have to go. We'll announce it because it's fabulous.
Yes, I was just going to say, they do have in the end of the summer program where they showcase all the talent of all the students that they have been working with throughout the summer, and it's just excellent to watch. I do have a certificate of recognition on behalf of the City of Homestead Mayor and Council. It says, this certificate is awarded to En Familia Art and Family Education Center in recognition of your commitment to building healthy family relationships and preserving cultural values through education and the arts. The City of Homestead salutes you.
Thank you.
Staff, please.
En Familia staff, please.
Shall we move forward?
Yeah.
I'll be in the back. Sorry.
Puerto Rico. Yeah. Most of the summer we're going to be. In September we're going away without the kids for a weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Now I have the pleasure to introduce my dear daughter, Jimena. She started her Art in Action camp 7 years ago, and now she just became a teacher, and she's doing her first year. She just completed her first year at FIU, and now in order for her to teach the Art in Action program, she has to be already attending classes in the art world, in the art field, and she has been attending the magnet schools with the County Public School for the past 6 years, and she loves to sing, and here she is.
Las manos de mi madre parecen pájaros en el aire, historias de cocina entre sus alas heridas de hambre. Las manos de mi padre saben qué ocurren por las mañanas cuando nace la vida, horno de barro, pan de esperanza. Las manos de mi madre llegan al patio desde temprano. Todo se manifiesta cuando ellas juegan junto a otros pájaros, junto a los pájaros que aman la vida, cuando las construye con el trabajo, ahora la tierra por vino y barro, en lo cotidiano se vuelve mágico, se vuelve mágico. Las manos de mi madre me representan un cielo abierto, un recuerdo añorado, trapos calientes en los inviernos. Ellas se brindan cálidas, nobles, sinceras, limpias de todo. ¿Cómo serán las manos del que las mueve gracias al odio? Las manos de mi padre llegan al patio desde temprano. Todo se vuelve fiesta cuando ellas juegan junto a otros pájaros, junto a los pájaros que aman la vida y los construye con el trabajo de la tierra, harina y barro. Lo cotidiano se vuelve mágico, se vuelve mágico.
Thank you. What a wonderful treat for all of us. Thank you so much. Next, I just want to wait 1 second because that was so beautiful.
Mayor,
I've seen her perform before too, and she's amazing. Yes.
I didn't understand the words she said, but she make me cry.
I leaned over to Councilman Lobos and I said, "You can fill me in on the words later." That's right. It's the international language is music. Now we have 2009 Relay for Life Volunteer Appreciation Presentation. Judy, would you like to help me do this presentation? Councilwoman Waldman, would you like to help me? As a matter of fact, the first on the list is Judy Waldman. And if you're here, please come forward. This is a thank you for all of the volunteers within the city of Homestead who donated their time, their talents, their dollars into the Relay for Life to make it such a success. Councilman Waldman.
First name is Amanda Carr. I'll just move quickly. Bernie, is Bernie here? I can never say Bernie's last name. Levitt. 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 I love it, Bernie. Carol McPatrick. Christy Thompson. Surely Christy's here.
She's probably in school.
Okay. Denise Santana. Carol Edgar. Debbie Lou. Is it Lou? Oh, boy. Elizabeth Manuel. Fran Schwartz. Gary Schaefer. Another stack. Oh, goodness. Thank you. Jackie Piketon. Jasmine Morales, Jan Ornstein, Joanna Chavez, Oh, good, we got one. See, we work them so hard, they're so tired by 5 o'clock they can't come back out again, right, Linda? Julia Vickers. Kim Elias. Mayor Linda Bell. Congratulations. Mike Hitt. There's Mike. These guys work so hard. I want to thank you. Mike Shahada. And Nick Stangoni. And we've forgotten.
We have more.
We have more. Okay. Oh, boy. Shaniqua Davis. Sherry Kamali. Miss Sheila Shed. Sherry Ader. Can you get up? Probably not. Robin Wright. Dee Hernandez. Omar Luna. And City of Homestead Parks and Recs Department.
Robert Landon.
Shirley from Shirley's Fashions. Shirley's not here. The Senior Center. Wendy Lobos, Councilwoman. Carrie Latour. Patty Sullivan. If we have not called your name and you participated in Relay for Life, please come forward and we'll make sure that that certificate is discovered quickly. Okay?
Do you know what the city's total was? Christie's not here.
The city, it's, no, not
This is-
just the city.
Yeah, Christy Rivers Thompson's not here, and she was pretty much, yeah, the city, I'll get the exact dollar amount that the city of Homestead raised. She's usually our go-to person on that. She did a fantastic job. $5,000 the city of Homestead raised. And all these employees, we baked, we sold brownies and cookies, we participated, and we did this for months and months. We had car washes. I even got out there and washed cars, guys. So that's what I'm talking about. Total was about $40,000. So we just appreciate everybody who works so hard for the American Cancer Society. Thank you. I get my exercise at this council meeting, back and forth. Next, we have the community introduction of the Beauty Schools of America. Would Beauty Schools of America please come forward? Oh, it's been crossed off. Thank you. Greenway Bike Festival presentation of appreciation, Councilwoman Waldman. Thank you. I missed that.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Oh, thank you. You know what? I have to get my glasses. I'm sorry. See, here's what happens when you get older. I'm sorry about that. It was just recently that we had our bike festival, our Biscayne Everglades Bike Festival. It was May 16th and 17th. And we had a wonderful time. It was a ton of work. We had over 150 bike riders, I was told, and I lost count. They were just beautiful. It was just beautiful. All of Chrome Avenue was filled with bike riders. And we had a 25-mile ride, a 41-mile ride, and a 62-mile ride. So tonight, I want to thank a lot of people. If I call your name, just come on forward, and I'm going to make sure if for some reason your name wasn't called, that I go back and check again, because I know who worked. First of all, I'd like to thank the Dr. Paul Dudley White National Bicycling Foundation. They were our major sponsor. And Ruth Campbell and Ronnie Webb. I know Miss Ruth is here. She's the greatest. Come on up here. Yvonne Knowles, Main Street Director. She was our event coordinator. Catherine Smith. She was our volunteer coordinator. She's on vacation. Mr. and Mrs. Charles Tibos from the Everglades Alligator Farm. And he rode in the ride. He looked magnificent. He had on an outfit and everything. He was number one. He was number one. From the Everglades Hostel sponsor, Ohm. Is Ohm here? Edwin. Come forward, Edwin. Thank you. Michael Fine, architect, who was a sponsor. My good friend Robert from Robert is here. Sponsor. We've all gained a lot of weight on those milkshakes, trust me. Miami-Dade County Parks and Recs Department, Director Jack Cardis, CPRP Park Planner Mark Heineke. They're in a meeting, I know. That's where my other bicycle riders are. They're all in a trail meeting that I was supposed to be in. Kevin Kerwin, Assistant to the Director, and Mary Abreu. These folks went above and beyond. They were just wonderful, wonderful. Everglades National Park, Dan Kimball, Director of Everglades, and Keith. Okay, right. Keith is here. Okay, Keith Weinsnat. Is it Weinsnat? Wizenet. I think I was a little bit off on that one, but I know Keith. Keith and I have worked together for years. Biscayne National Park Director Mark Lewis. And Emma Andrews, I want to say a big thank you to Emma. She was great. What would we do without Tom Burton and Eric Tolberg? They're not here. They're in the meeting that I'm supposed to be in Dade County, but they are wonderful. They are volunteers. They're just bike riders, just everyday people, and they're there always. Alan Steele with Mavic Incorporated. Paul Seesholz. He's a volunteer. Thanks, Paul. Oh, and Valerie. I'm sorry, Valerie. Please come forward. We have Mike Dobson, volunteer. David Suarez, who, God bless him, if he hadn't done the registration that morning. And Catherine Fleming. So they can be here tonight. I did something a little different. I wanted to give you something. But I didn't want to just give you a plaque, because I know you have a lot of plaques, all of you, because you do such good work. So we had this beautiful poster, and help me. I'll show it to the camera. We had this beautiful, beautiful poster, and so I had it framed for all of you to have. It was our first annual bike festival, and you know who else I forgot to mention was Mayor Otis Wallace. They donated to the Bike Festival as well. So thank you, and we'll present them to everyone, and we'll make sure. Well, excuse me, Ruth, I'd like for you to say something.
Well, first, as a member of Tropical Gardens, among other things, this is for you. From the
Tropical Cornucopia, thank you very much. It was the same day, so I was busy trying to coordinate the Bike Festival, which was a 2-day event. We also had a ride Sunday morning on the Trailway. wow, that was an experience. But we're going to have many, many more. We're already planning our bike festival for next year to be our second annual. I don't know how we're going to top these beautiful. I told Yvonne, I said, we're going to be like the Coconut Grove Art Festival with a different poster every single year, because these were just gorgeous. And Dade County did these for us. So they were just beautiful. Designed here by Yvonne. But they printed them for us. And in great quality. And thank you, Ruth, very much for this honor. Would you like to talk about the bicycle in Homestead?
I'd like to talk about the museum.
Okay. Whatever Ruth says, Ruth gets.
At the museum, I stay open whenever we have an event downtown. So, of course, I was there for all of this. But what we had this time with the bike riders, but people that had never been in Homestead before, they had driven through Homestead, but they came in Homestead. So I want to thank the outreach that we've had for that. And so this one day that we had these two great events, and we're going to do it again next year. And I just want to thank everybody that comes to these events to visit me in the museum, the historic Homestead Town Hall Museum, 41 North Chrome Avenue.
Not up here, I have to have Mark on his stool.
Thank you very much. Next, we have a very exciting scholarship program winners to announce with Councilman Melvin McCormick.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Bell. As many of you are aware of, we did a scholarship fund through the Southwest Advisory Committee. The scholarship, we were awarding 4 scholarships to our local areas. To our local area students. Tonight I have 2 members from the Southwest Advisory Committee. We have Vice Chair Fred Bird and also Adelia Martinez. Could you please assist me in handing these checks out, please? As I just mentioned, that right now we're awarding 4 students, and as a part of our goals, we'd like to exceed what we've done the previous year. So next year, we intend on it growing from 4 scholarships to a total of 6 scholarships. That's one of our goals. Right now, we have if the students are here, would you please come forward and get your check? These are oversized checks, so you can't take them to the bank. They're just for keepsake, and and the actual check will be mailed out to the school that you were accepted to. The first recipient we have is Jasvani Alonzo. If you're here, please come pick up the check. The next recipient is Valerie Cardenas. The next recipient is Marie Desir. If you're here, please come pick up your check. And our 4th and final recipient is Tanya Rozier. If you're here, please come pick up your check. I would like to thank the Southwest Advisory Committee for coming together to reach this goal, and also the donors. We had some private donations that helped this fund possible. And we're still accepting contributions because, like I said, we're trying to expand from 4 to 6, and we have an open account that will stay open. So next year we would have to go through the soliciting process. We'll just already have the money in the bank account. So once again, thank you to all that donated, and hopefully we'll see you again next year.
Thank you so much, Councilman McCormick. That is such a beautiful idea. I'd like to see someone bring that to the bank, by the way. We also have some parents with us this evening. Would the parents wave? I know you're proud of your son. Thank you very much. Next, we have our local green business highlight, Town Square Cleaners, with Martin King and Sabrina Perez King, with Councilman Nelson. Councilman, would you like to introduce them?
Okay. I'm doing. Let me see.
As part of business development, I wanted to start bringing in some businesses that I've seen in the community. And one of the things I want to start doing is touching on some green businesses. And I met these guys a couple of months ago. They're always out networking till late hours of the night. And I wanted to bring them in and have them start tell you about their company. I want to start doing this on a monthly basis to start highlighting some of the businesses in our town. So, I want to introduce you guys.
Okay. My name is Martin King. We actually own 2 dry cleaners in the area. One's on 280 US 1, which is a 4,000 square foot environmentally friendly plant. The other location is at 312 and US 1 at the Town Square Center. This is my wife, Sabrina Perez King.
Hello.
All right.
How are you doing this evening? We want to thank you guys, the mayor. Thank you so much for having us. Tim, everybody, we're really excited to be here. We appreciate the opportunity to present our business to you. Our location that's on US 1 and Campbell Drive has been there for about 10 years, and we recently acquired it about 9 months ago. As a result of our acquisition, the cleaners became an environmentally friendly cleaner. For those of you that don't know, standard cleaners that use chemicals to clean their clothes are actually toxic and carcinogenic for you. We don't like to focus much on our competitors to make ourselves look better, so we just focus on ourselves and the different things that we offer to our clients. Our environment, you know, the decision to go environmentally friendly was something that was actually a no-brainer for us. We wouldn't have done it any other way just because it didn't make sense to us. To be working in it ourselves, to have our staff working in it, and then to have our customers wearing the clothes that they breathe in, every day. So it's been a great experience for us so far. We've been in our plant that's on 280 and US 1 has been open for about a year now, and the fact that we offer free pickup and delivery to your home or your office is a big differentiator for us as well. So we
okay. So what I'd like to do now is just give you a little bit of information on our business and some of the things we're doing in the community, as well as most people don't know what dry cleaning is. So I'll give you a short definition of what that is, to kind of educate everyone, and then we'll end up giving some more information, a little bit more information on what we consider a competitive advantage for our business. As my wife mentioned, we opened Premium Cleaners August 15th, 2008. And people were asking us, well, why did you open up this business in the middle of this recession? And of course, the project was about a year behind. So, we did everything we could to get up as quickly as possible. As we mentioned, it's environmentally friendly. The services that we offer dry cleaning, we offer wet cleaning, we offer shoe repair, we offer handbag cleaning, hat cleaning, and as well as dyeing. No one else does this. No one else in our market does it. As far as the organization that we're part of, we are, as Tim mentioned, we are members of the Homestead Florida City Chamber. the Homestead Business Network International, Palmetto Bay Business Association, Cutler Bay Business Association, B&I Referrals out of Dadeland, and Coral Gables Women's Club.
Yes, we do a lot of volunteer work within the community, a lot of donations for our time, as well as, any clothing that's been around for over a year after we've tried to contact everybody endlessly. We might as well put it in the hands so that it can go to good use.
We also donate cleaning services to individuals that are out of a job, that are looking for, that are interviewing. So if you know anyone that is going on an interview and money's tight, bring a suit or dress or whatever you have, and we'll clean that free of charge. And that's because we're in this community. Some of our resources that none of our competitors have in this market, we're members of the National Cleaning Association, which sets standards, and they also interact directly with designers, that design houses and manufacturers. So if you bring a garment into us and we don't know how to handle it, or if something happens to it, we contact them, they'll say, well, look, this is how you should treat it, and we'll put you in contact with the manufacturer. No one else is going to do that. They also have an analysis lab. We had a situation where someone brought us a $1,500 silk bed cover. It was custom made, just raw silk. We treated it as directed. It came back. It was a little short. The customer was upset. We contacted the analysis lab, and what they'll do, they analyze the garment to show or to tell how we treated the garment. It turns out that the silk wasn't pre-shrink, that we handled it appropriately, and the fabric house reimbursed the customer for that, which no one else has. The New York School of Dry Cleaning, everyone that works in our plant has been trained by the New York School of Dry Cleaning. A lot of our competitors, most of them are drop stores. So when it comes to finishing, spotting, and cleaning the correct way, there's formal education that's part of that.
No, I'll just add to the fact that it's a non-regulated industry, so you don't actually have to have a license to open a cleaner, which means that the education that we've, made a point to take for ourselves is something that's just an extra step so that we can actually service, the client and know what we're doing. A lot of people that damage garments or whatever won't take accountability because they'll post a sign that says that they're not responsible for X, Y, and Z. So that's just an extra step that we take, for our clients.
Okay, we're also members of the Dry Cleaning Laundry Institute out of Silver Spring, Maryland. Basically serves the same purpose, but it's just another resource. So if we run into a situation where we have a $1,500 silk garment or a $700 tuxedo, and we're not certain how to treat it, we can fall back on that. As far as environmentally friendly goes, the dry cleaning industry it began in 1890 by a guy named Jean-Francois Baptiste in France. The guy owned a dye house. A dye house back in the day, this is when they were dyeing different fabrics and things like that. Well, his maid spilled a little kerosene on a tablecloth, and when the kerosene dried up, the tablecloth was clean. The industry was born. And so back in the day, early solvents that were used to clean your clothes were gasoline and kerosene, which caused problems because, there were some fires and explosions. So what started to happen, they started to chlorinate the solvents, and it made them less flammable, which brought to the scene PERC. Now, perchloroethylene, it's used 90% of the dry cleaners in this country use perchloroethylene. Not safe, not really safe at all. California's banned it. New Jersey, New York, Florida is in the process of doing that. So, of course, we don't try not to use it. I mean, anything that's cleaning your clothes that you can smell, that's making you dizzy or making you sick is just not a good thing. But just like in the rest of the country, 90% of the dry cleaners in Miami-Dade use PERC. So if you use dry cleaning, it's probably a good idea to find out what's being used, because if you clean in that and you take it in your home, it's in your house. If you clean a comforter, just say a down comforter, you can't wash that in water. So if you take a down comforter and you clean it in PERC, and you have kids and animals, over a period of time, it can give you some bad symptoms. So for us, we use two types of chemicals. Our time's up. Okay. Two types of chemicals. We use two types of solvents: hydrocarbon and green earth. They're both non-toxic, and they break down in water. So there's no contamination of groundwater and that type of thing. As far as the cleaning process, okay, so what is dry cleaning? Dry cleaning is nothing more than cleaning clothes in the absence of water. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that the clothes are thrown in some type of dry machine. What it means is that the solvents are wet, but there's no water molecules. What happens when you clean anything, you need three things to clean. You need a mechanical action, which at home is your drum. You need detergent, which acts as a lubricant to lift the soil off your clothes, and you need a solvent to help rinse it away. So no matter what you do, no matter whether it's wet cleaning or dry cleaning, you're going to need some type of solvent. Hopefully, the solvent that you use is not bad for you. Basically,
Martin, thank you very much. We're going to have to wrap it
I
up.
can go for days. But thank you very much.
I think you had them at, you pick it up at their house in the shoe repair. I think you didn't have to say anything else.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Community Presentation with Councilman Nelson, so stay right there, Tim.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, other constituents and members of the community. Chief Paul Smith of Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. I'm the Operations Division Chief for the South District. My responsibility is from Doral to Florida City, overseeing approximately 30 fire stations. I'm going to give you a quick overview of my Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Department, some of the services we offer, and how do we affect the Homestead area. And Mayor, keep me on time. I understand we have an agenda to follow. First of all, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue was incorporated in 1935 from a single unit. It's approximately 74 years old now, and we cover approximately 1,883 square miles, which is we say 2,000 square miles, but it's approximately 1,883 square miles. And if you count outside of UDB, we're close to 2,000. The only department close to our size, as far as response area, is LA County, and they have over 100 fire stations. So we're basically understaffed for the area we're responsible for. As far as personnel, throughout the county, it's approximately 1.7 million personnel reside in Miami-Dade County, and I'll get to you more demographic of Homestead in a minute. We have approximately 132 frontline units operating out of 64 fire stations throughout the county, and we have over 50 rescue units. The rescues are the little box trucks, we call it, 3 paramedics on the unit, and all our fire trucks, 90% of our fire trucks have 2 paramedics on it. Some of the programs we started incorporating in the last 10 years, I would say about 10, 12 years. One is the Stroke Center Correlation Network, where we identify certain hospital to build stroke teams to respond in the event we come to you or your family and they notice a stroke may have occurred or paralysis may have occurred within 3 hours, and we try to get you to the hospital. Survival rate is real high. We also started within the last few years a program called STEMI. It's an acronym that stands for ST, Elevation Myocardial Infarction. And the myocardial is the heart muscle infarction, meaning dead tissues. In that respect, we reached out to the hospital network, some hospitals in Miami-Dade County. We had a little pushback at first from some of the doctors, which we did early in the 1997, I'm going to talk to you in a minute about. In that process, we try to get you to get heart perfusion within 90 minutes. From the hospital side of it, we could do certain pharmacology treatment from the rescue side, pre-hospital setting, prior to you going to the hospital. We reduced the time frame from 2 hours down to 60 minutes, and our goal was 90 minutes. Back in 1997, I was Lieutenant Smith at the time, and worked in the Miami Garden area. We had 3 units in the county start a program to deliver what's known as clot busters. Clot busters is a term we use in the field. It's a pharmaceutical drug we give. It's called Retivase, which is a clot buster. It goes in to dissolve clots in the heart, in the myocardium. In that respect, they gave us 16-hour training, and the only person who was allowed to give this drug was doctors. Only doctors. So they started trying to give it in a pre-hospital setting with paramedics, and I was one of the guys that actually tested it. And I can tell you right now, we gave it over 100 times for over a 2-year period, and with a 100% success rate. And then we knew right then we could deliver something outside the hospital in a pre-hospital setting. If you're going to have a heart attack anywhere in the United States, you have a better survival rate to have one in Miami-Dade County. And I'm not saying to go out and have one, but if you're going to have one, you want to have one here. Okay? All right. To talk about it, I'm summarizing. I had a long presentation, but I'm summarizing this. Let's talk about Homestead, City of Homestead, how we service Homestead. Homestead, City of Homestead, and this is the demographic and the information we got from the bureaus, the Census Bureau downtown. Approximately 53,000 population, and in the year 2007 through 2008, we dispatched over 27,000 calls in this community. Over 15,712 emergency calls received in actual Homestead area. And when I say 27,000, that's the amount of units responding in the area. We're going to talk a little bit about life-threatening emergencies that you had, and you see the elevation of it. In 2007, we had 3,600 life-threatening calls in Homestead, and in 2008, it went up to 4,100. As non-life-threatening, we went from 1,500 to 1,700, and structure fires, we went from 823, we just went up a little point there to 830. The fires were not, it's pretty stable in the fire area. As far as responding in this area, we have 5 stations, surrounding stations, within a couple of miles distance, about say a little over a mile distance. 3 right in Homestead, Station 16, which is off 325 North of 2nd Street. We also have Station 66 in the village of Homestead, which I saw the mayor at the opening of the station. I was responsible for opening that station. Station 6, Station 65, which is also new, East Homestead, straight up Palm Drive on the other side, east of US 1. And we have Station 5 in Goulds, which is a little over 3 miles, that also respond in this area. The only significant incident I would like to bring up that happened in Homestead was during the 2008, we dispatched a little over 1,935 firefighters and over 855 units, representing over $1.5 million in asset. On April 15th, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue dispatched 11 units equating to 28 firefighters, which is 4 engines, 1 ladder, 1 air truck, 2 rescues, 1 fire investigator, and 2 battalion chiefs to extinguish a structure fire at a single-family residence located in Northeast 29th Terrace. Similarly, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue dispatched another 11 units to extinguish a structure fire at a single-family residence located in Southeast 2nd Drive on August 20th, 2008. And that was also approximately $17 million in asset. This year, on March 6, 2009, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue dispatched 15 units, equating to 36 firefighters, 4 engines, 1 ladder, air truck, a tactical rescue unit, and 1 investigator and 3 battalion chiefs to extinguish a structure fire at an apartment building located at 260 Northeast 10th Street. That asset would equate to over $25 million. We also have a medical response criteria. We try to respond to over 90% of our responses within 8 minutes to you to get ALS care, which is advanced life support. How am I doing on time? Pretty good? Okay. All right. The last thing I want to cover, and we do have a more detailed presentation for you, Mayor, we can set up through Commissioner Nelson here, and if he wants to have a more further detail. There's, in the summer month, there are 120 critical days of summer. We have a lot of drownings, and kids is more apt to drown than any other more than adults, of course. I want to encourage you to get out and do some training, drowning prevention training or swimming lessons this summer. There's also snakes and poison snakes in Homestead that you may come across. And we have a venom response team. If you are bitten by a snake, make sure you call fire rescue. Hurricane month, of course, June 1st to November 30th. Portable generators, carbon dioxide poison is one of our biggest response each year. If you're going to use a generator, make sure it's in a ventilated area, preferably outside. But I know there's a lot of theft throughout Miami-Dade County, not particularly in Homestead. I don't have the stats for Homestead. But make sure you're using a well-ventilated area, preferably outside, and get a carbon monoxide detector. Okay? July 4th is coming up, and we have fireworks. Okay? So be careful and try to reduce our response because we have medical emergency we need to respond to, and keep our units free up for the real calls instead of these calls that we can prevent. This concludes my presentation. Do we have any questions from the council or the constituents?
Thank you very much, Chief, and thank you, Councilman Nelson, for bringing the chief here.
Mayor, may
Thank
I-
you for those facts.
May I add one-
Councilwoman.
Sir. Sir.
Councilwoman Waldman.
Excuse me, sir. I just want to tell you that those shots that you're talking about for the heart attack victims saved one of my friend's life, so it is true. It is so true. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And also these
Ms. Mike
pamphlets
Shahada?
will be in the back.
And Mr. Shahada?
Mayor, council members, we met with the assistant county manager and several people from the fire department, Florida City, and Florida City mayor. And also last week, I met also with the assistant director from the fire department in charge of facilities. And one of the things I know, when they built the station on 328, they call it the Village of Homestead. I spoke to the gentleman, Mr. Nelson, in charge of the facilities, and he told me actually in their paperwork it's called the Villages of Homestead. Maybe it was, he said they will take care of it to make it Villages of Homestead.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Chief. Before we, I wanted to wait till after the presentations, but before we get into the agenda, I would like to just take a moment and have a moment of silence for two people that we lost this past week in our community. One of them was Ernestine Seymour, and she's an old, wonderful woman and a pioneer in the Southwest community. And also Lester Dawkins. We lost Lester Dawkins this past week as well. And many people know who Lester Dawkins is, the plumbing, the plumber with the plumbing company. So if you would all just take a moment and let's just have a moment of silence on behalf of Ernestine Seymour and Lester Dawkins. Thank you very much. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
The item has been properly moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the ayes carry. Thank you very much. Item 6, public hearings, ordinances, land use items.
Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment on any of these items, please indicate the item number you'd like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the counsel to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda package on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the agenda. At this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify on any quasi-judicial item.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
6A has been deferred, so James, 6B, please.
Yes, 6B is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval for the development of 7,443 square foot restaurant building on approximately 1.82 acres of land located at the northeast corner of Campbell Drive, Southwest 312th Street and Newton Road, Southwest 147th Avenue, as an out parcel to the Homestead Pavilion commercial development as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
I'll second. The item has been properly moved and seconded. I'll let the community know. Our notes show that that is a Red Lobster that's coming to our town next. So are there, this This is a public hearing at this time. I would ask if any council members have any questions for the applicant or for staff. Any members of the community would like to speak to this item? This is a public hearing concerning this restaurant. Thank you very much. We'll now close the public hearing. Any further comments or any comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to tab 12. Tab 12 is a final order of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a certificate of use to allow the operation of a restaurant with on-premises sale and consumption of alcoholic beverages located within the Homestead Pavilion Commercial Shopping Center, further granting a waiver of the location requirements for the sale of alcoholic beverages as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is the final order for Red Lobster.
I'll move it, Mayor.
Second. The item has been properly moved and seconded. This is a public hearing. Do the council members have any questions or comments for the applicant or for staff?
Welcome.
This is a public hearing. Are there any comments or questions from any members of the community? This is a public hearing. Thank you. We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Tab 13 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting final plat approval for Park South at Homestead Park of Commerce, located on the northeast corner of Park of Commerce Boulevard and southwest 147th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, consisting of approximately 39.57 acres and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. This is the final hearing. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move.
I'll second.
The item has been properly moved and seconded. This is a public hearing. Do the council members have any comments or questions for any members of staff or the applicant? This is a public hearing. Would any members of the public like to speak? Colonel McCulley. Welcome.
Oh, welcome. Well, thank you. And Mayor and the council, it's always great to see you. We have an item that we'd like to talk about, the current plans for the plat for this piece of property. And I'd like to read a letter that we prepared, and we'd like to enter this letter into the record, and I'll provide a copy once I finish reading it, okay? Again, this is a letter dated today to the Honorable Linda Bell, and Mayor Bell, it's directed to, to you. And let me read it as such. The following comments are in response to the public hearing number 2009-17, final plat approval for the Park South at Homestead Park of Commerce. The project is located on the northeast corner of Park of Commerce Boulevard and southwest 147th Avenue within the Homestead Park of Commerce. The development plan reflects 42 building lots with proposed office and warehouse uses. We have reviewed the final plat and have no objections to the current plat design. Homestead Air Reserve Base is very appreciative of the coordination and cooperation shown in this matter by the project owners, A&H Commerce Park, LLC, and the Homestead Planning Department staff. We ask that all remain vigilant in the future as specific developments are proposed for the building lots. We ask that during the next planning development phase, the developer and the city staff continue to work with Homestead Air Reserve Base so as to ensure continued compatible land use that meets the intent of the Homestead Air Reserve Base 2007 Air Installation Compatible Use Zone Study, and which is consistent with the base's policy for low density intensity for uses in our accident potential zones. Our goal is to promote uses that provide for a safe community that can continue to develop economically and concurrently to ensure continued protection of Homestead Air Reserve Base's mission from encroachment. And then, of course, I've signed the letter. Again, here's the final copy.
Thank you, Colonel McKelly. Your notes are recorded. They're recorded into the record, and they're well taken.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kelly. Councilwoman Lobos.
Colonel McCauley, I just have to tell you that while you were reading the first part of the letter, my heart stopped. I stopped breathing until you say no objections, and then I go, okay, good.
Well, we got to keep you in some suspense.
Especially since it's final plat.
That's it. But we think we have a good plan, and we look forward to work with A&H on this issue as we go forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to the commercial developers for working with the air base as well. We appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. Any further comments from the public? Thank you very much. We'll now close the public hearing. Did you have a comment, sir, on this item? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Any further comments from council? Sir, there'll be time for public comment at the end of the meeting. You'll have plenty of time. Thank you. I will call Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Legislative matters.
This is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the city code by amending Chapter 19 nuisance, by amending Article 5 accumulations of debris, rubbish, etc., growth of weeds, grass, etc., by amending Section 1991 definition, Section 1993 nuisance is prohibited. Penalty in 1995 prohibited public nuisance to enhance property maintenance, to provide that the owner of abutting property is responsible for maintaining the public right-of-way free of nuisances, and to provide for enforcement. Amending Chapter 24 streets and sidewalks and other public places by amending Article 3 sidewalks, curbs, and gutters by amending Section 2465 maintenance, to provide that the owner of abutting properties is duty to maintain sidewalk liability for damages, notice, and assessment of costs and liens, providing for severability, inclusion in the code, conflicts, and an effective date. This is the second reading and public hearing.
Thank you.
Second.
The item has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from council members on this item? This is the second reading. Any comments or questions from the public on the second reading? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Chapter 22.5 Retirement Plans, Article 2 Police Officers Retirement Plan of City Code by amending Sections 22.5, 21, 22.5 through 36, and 22.5, 39, to provide that up to 254 hours of overtime shall be included in members' average final compensation, provide for a repealer, severability, and effective date.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Second it.
This item has been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions from council members for the manager on this item? Any comments or questions from the public on this item? This is a public hearing. Thank you. We'll now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Chapter 22.5 Retirement Plans, Article 6 Newly Elected Officials and Senior Management Retirement System of the City Code by amending Section 22.5-302 Definitions and 22.5-303 Benefits to revise the definitions of contingent annuitant and senior manager, Sections 22.5-08 Deferred Retirement Option Program, to establish a deferred retirement option program for members of the system, providing for repealer, severability, and providing for effective date.
I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Are there any comments or questions on this item for staff? No. Are there any comments or questions from members of the public? This is a public hearing. Now close the public hearing. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
It's an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City of Homestead Code of Ordinances by creating Division 4 Homestead Community Relations Board of Article 3 Boards, Committees, Commissions of Chapter 2 Administration, by amending Article 2 City Council of Chapter 2 Administration, by amending Article 2 No Boards, Committees, Commissions of Chapter 2 Administration, by amending Division 1 Generally, Division 2 Tourism Advisory Committee, Division 2.5 Southwest Advisory Committee, Division 3.5 Education Committee, Division 5 Mayor's Youth Council, Division 7 Planning and Zoning Board, Division 9 Homestead Community Image Advisory Board, and by repealing Division 3 Disability Issues Advisory Board, Homestead, Florida City Human Relations Board, Division 6 Off-Street Parking Authority, Division 8 Professional Boxing Commission, and amending Article 3 Tom J. Harris Field of Chapter 20 Parks and Recreation of the City Code by repealing Section 20-31, providing for removal of repealed provisions, from the City Code providing for severability, inclusion code, and effective date.
I'll move it.
So moved. Second.
The item has been properly moved and seconded.
Mayor Bell.
Councilman Lobos, and have you have the floor.
Thank you. Mayor Bell, I'd just like to comment on record a little bit about the homework that I have done regarding this ordinance. At the April 20th, 2009, I voted in support to sunset the Human Relations Board. The council had restructured several boards at that time, so I voted yes. Immediately following the May 18th meeting, I realized that the creation of the new board hadn't been presented to us. So on May 19th, 2009, I contacted Mr. Richard Wise, the city attorney, to ask if an ordinance draft was available for me to review. I knew the review was going to be extensive, and I wanted to be sure to have sufficient time to review it. On May 20th, Mr. Weiss did provide that ordinance draft for me, and so I was able to review and speak to him on many items that I needed clarification on. I also scheduled a meeting with the city manager and was able to speak with him and the assistant city manager. All city boards are an extension of the vision of this council and this administration. You know, as a political candidate, my platform was always to change the direction that the city was heading in, and I always offered a different direction than the one of the majority of the prior council and the administration. This was what I stated throughout my campaign as a political candidate. I believe that the record of my votes since then, since being elected, reflect the change that I proposed of that direction. To prepare for agenda items, I meet with the city staff to be fully informed. I also review any public comments, emails, phone calls, and letters. Dissenting comments and opinions come from two groups of people. The first groups are residents and parties that have an interest in the item that is being presented. They genuinely feel that if I vote yes or no on a particular item, that it will negatively impact them. Most of the items, I have an opportunity to meet and schedule meetings with them face-to-face to meet and discuss. The second group of dissenting comments and opinions come from people in and out of the city whose philosophy and vision lines up with the prior council and the prior administration. There is nothing wrong with not agreeing with me and what legislation I support for the city. I don't expect them to think or agree with me. This is a group that believes that the change that was voted on November 2007 was not a good change. This dissenting minority has never and will probably never support me or agree with me. They disagree with my philosophy as a councilwoman. Since November of 2007, I have worked hard and made some very difficult and challenging choices. The ultimate goal is to make changes that will improve our city and our quality of life as residents. I know that I have been consistent in my approach, and my voting record proves it. At my swearing in, an outgoing councilman remarked that he believed that his position had given him more than he had given to the city. I immediately purposed in my heart that I would never have that statement be true of me as a councilwoman. So tonight, I'm going to vote to support the restructuring of the Human Relations Board as well as all the other boards listed in this ordinance. The former Human Relations Board is now going to be called the Homestead Community Relations Board and will serve only the city of Homestead. Its areas of responsibility have been expanded to include issues of residents with disabilities. Because I have reviewed the verbatim minutes of 80% of the former Human Relations Board meetings, that refocusing the purpose of the board under a new structure is a good thing. I also support the fact that the members will be required to be Homestead residents, not just have a business interest or other interest in our city. As I live and go about the city, I have received many comments of support, and I have had the opportunity to explain my stand on this issue. I participated in a cleanup in the Southwest community this past spring, and I had the opportunity to interact with residents there who were interested in knowing what I was going to support to go in the place of the nightmare that were the shotgun houses location. I have even had the opportunity to speak to Mayor Otis Wallace 3 times over the phone regarding this Human Relations Board, and I have explained my vote and support for a new Homestead Community Relations Board. So tonight, after extensive homework, extensive research, much discussion and communication, I will be voting yes on this ordinance because I believe that it moves us as a city in forward progress. Thank you, Mayor Bell.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Thank you for those well-thought-out comments. Any other comments from council members?
Mayor Bell?
Councilwoman Waldman.
Thank you. At the Committee of the Whole meeting this past week, I voted against this. I won't go into a lot of the detail that I stated on the record there. But I will say that my issues with the ordinance are many. First of all, I don't think it's right that background checks need to be for volunteers, for the board members. And as I said then, we don't even do background checks on people running for council. So that was one of my major concerns. The language of the ordinance, in my opinion only, is a little inconsistent, and I'm disappointed that each of the boards in the ordinance are not given distinctive individual consideration. And that's just my opinion. So it's nothing personal against anybody else, but it's my opinion. Having said that, I could never vote on this ordinance as they are all combined into one. I said it at the Cal meeting. And Mayor Bell, I understand what you said at the Cal meeting as to why you did what you did, but I didn't know that it was not a bilateral decision between Mayor Wallace and Mayor Bell to disband the board. So therefore, I will vote no tonight.
Thank you, Councilwoman Waldman. Any other comments before I
Yes,
address
Mayor?
those comments? Thank you.
I actually appreciate the consistency of the boards, being that all boards are treated equal and all have the same importance to the city. Every single one of the boards that has been established in this ordinance is of great importance to our city, to our residents, and to this council. And I feel that the cleanup that we have done really represents the direction in which and the vision in which this council would like to go in. Although there were some minor provisions made and some minor differences in the different boards, I appreciate the fact that they are going to be consistent and across the. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Any other comments before I address it? Thank you. I would like to address some of the issues that were brought up. I think that the idea of background checks is so wonderful and so important. As a matter of fact, I remember, Councilwoman Waldman, when you brought it up for background checks for anybody who deal with children in sports.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we have boards that, many of our boards are dealing with and interacting with all members of our community. We have an education committee that deals with children. We have Mayor's Youth Council that deals with youth. We have all kinds of boards that deal and interact with youth all the time. And not only that, but I think it's very important to know that when remember, a board is it's something that's purely advisory. Boards and committees are purely advisory. Their only power is to advise the council or to bring something to our attention. They don't have power to act on their own, unlike some of the other boards that were taking this power into their own hands. And we had a real problem with that with the former Human Relations Board. And so, but I will tell you that the issues with background checks are very important, because I think if we're going to have somebody that represents the mayor and council, that represents our citizens, we should know if they're convicted felons or not. I just think that's common sense. So I just think it doesn't make any sense not to do it. And I'm so glad that we've added this in finally. It's probably something we should have done a long time ago. And you know, the fact of the matter is, with new administrations come change. And you know, every administration has the opportunity and the right to make and implement those changes that they feel best represent the community that they serve. And so that's exactly what we're doing here. Also, again, I'd like to address this. The fact that Mayor Wallace didn't know. There's a few things I would like to address. Number one, the city of Homestead paid 100% of the cost of the Homestead, Florida City Human Relations Board. We paid for the staff member. We paid for the city attorneys. We paid for the location. We paid for the person who takes the minutes and transcribes the minutes. We keep the records if someone does a records request, and then we provide those records requests. The city of Homestead and the Homestead Florida City Human Relations Board had a breakfast, a Martin Luther King breakfast every year. Guess who paid 100% of the breakfast? The city of Homestead. Even though it was called the Homestead Florida City Martin Luther King Breakfast, the city of Homestead foot 100% of the bill. A lot of people don't know that, so I just want to put that on the record. That being said, I did speak with Mayor Wallace after that. I had a discussion with the council, because it is rude and disrespectful to my own council if I have a conversation outside of council before I have a conversation with council. And because we have the sunshine laws and we abide by them, I needed to have that discussion with the council first, see where the council was, how the council was feeling, the leading of the council, and then when the council acted, and we acted unanimously and bilaterally, that's when I spoke with Mayor Wallace. So anyway, I just wanted to put that on the record, but I do appreciate the comments. Now, this is a public hearing, so I would like to open the floor for any members of the public who would like to speak to this item. Okay, thank you very much. Any further comments from council? Thank you for your work on this, Mr. Attorney. Thank you, Sheila. I know that I brought, and by the way, another thing people don't know, because there's been a lot of misstatements. I guess I thought I was finished. There's been a lot of misstatements that we've been working on changing these boards since last October. Long before any items in the media, long before anything's in the press, we've been working on restructuring and changing. And contrary to popular belief, we've changed all the boards across the line, and we're going to make this a more proactive board and a responsive board to our community as a whole and represent this entire community. And it's going to be a City of Homestead Community Relations Board. And I want to tell everybody as well, we are not 30,000 residents anymore. We are now 60,000 residents. I think that certainly the City of Homestead deserves a board of its own. Mr. Manager.
Mayor, council members, I'll be selfish if I don't extend and say thank you to Joanna Faddis. She represented the city manager with the city attorney, Matthew Barrell, when she did all the work. Practically, she did it 95% of the work before she brought to my attention to review.
Thank you for bringing that to us, Mr. Manager. Thank you very much. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
No.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amendment Chapter 30, Zoning, Article 4, Supplemental District Regulations, Division 3, Density, Section 3457, maximum density established, to establish a maximum density of 8 dwelling units per acre within zoning districts, to implement the medium density residential MRU future land use category, further amending Division 3 density to establish Section 3461 density bonus for properties within the duplex R2, townhouse district R3, cluster house district RCH, and residential traditional neighborhood district RTND. To provide for additional density of up to 10 dwelling units per acre, provided developer performance standards and criteria are met, and providing for severability, inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
So move it.
The item has been properly moved and seconded. I'd like to let the record reflect that this is a result of the moratorium study that we enacted, the building moratorium, right after I became mayor, and we had a 12-month moratorium study that we actually allowed to go on a little bit longer, and this is a result of that, so I'm very pleased with that. Any comments or questions from council members? This is a public hearing. Any member of the public would like to go forward and address this item, please state your name and address for the record.
Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council and Mr. City Manager and staff. My name is Truly Burton. I'm the Government Affairs Director for the Builders Association of South Florida. Thank you for the opportunity to present our views this evening. First, I want to acknowledge and thank Ms. Kamali and Mr. White from the Weiss Sirota firm for taking their time last week in discussing this issue in detail with me and a few of our members. They really did clarify and frame the issue, as you mentioned, Madam Mayor, that this ordinance is really part of as a result of the study regarding the moratorium. And after the review of various recommendations, the proposal came forth to change the density for the medium density zoning categories from 10 units to the acre down to 8 units to the acre, with the opportunity to restore 2 units to an acre if a home builder met certain criteria. The first criterion to restore 1 unit of density would be to have that builder build a green community. In the ordinance, you show you provide for 2 different green standards that a builder could meet. We respectfully ask that you include a 3rd one that has been prepared by the National Association of Home Builders. That's our parent organization in Washington. I would ask that for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think any solidly prepared, third-party certified green construction standards should be given equal opportunity to be included in it. It is, as I mentioned, a third-party certified program, very similar to LEED. However, it is much more economical for the home buyer at the end of the day. It does include green criteria for site development, energy and water efficiency, as well as actual indoor air quality and operation and maintenance of the home, which is not included in other standards. Second, the NAHB's standard was subject to greater scrutiny because it was developed with the International Code Congress. It was developed by professionals, manufacturers, as well as members of the public. LEED requirements are not so subject to that kind of scrutiny. It's just by their professionals, which of course are equally valid, but the National Association of Home Builders is specific for residential construction, as well as developed in consensus, by consensus with the public. So we would request that the NAHB's green building standards, which I can provide a copy to Mr. Shahade and to Ms. Kamali, and also to the council if they choose, that we include that as a third green building option. Second criterion to restore an additional unit of density for the builder would be to set aside 20% of the site within a project for public access as a park effectively. Further, the homeowners within that particular project or development would be required to pay for the maintenance of that public park in perpetuity. Respectfully, not only would it be unfair for private homeowners to pay for the maintenance of a public park, it also burdens them with any legal liability if there were to be an accident or some kind of incident on what effectively is a public park. Therefore, we would propose another option. If a builder donates 20% of a particular community for a public park, that the density bonus be given and that the city would bear the maintenance cost for what effectively is a public park. Third, we would respectfully ask that a specific grandfather clause be included in the draft. Right now there is no grandfather clause. And while there are several scenarios where builders that have already received prior approval under the old ordinance for 10 units per acre, it's very clear that they would continue to retain those rights moving forward, and hopefully as we move out of this recession. Some of those future scenarios that perhaps we cannot foresee right now could present themselves. So rather than have an unclear set of rules or possibly subject, to either legal proceedings or additional debate, we would ask that a specific grandfather clause be included so that everyone is very clear as to their rights. Again, we would respectfully ask that these three amendments be included in the next revision of the ordinance when it comes to you for second reading. We are certainly available to discuss these issues with Ms. Kamali, Mr. Shahade, or with anyone else from the city attorney's office.
I'd like to get the opinion and the comment from Ms. Kamali and the manager, but I will tell you, we took care of the grandfathering a long time ago in the very beginning of the moratorium study. Mr. Manager?
Mayor, truly first I must appreciate you pronounce my last name correctly, but you hesitate before you say it, but you do it very well, by the way.
Thank you very much.
The other thing, Mayor, actually we received a letter. I didn't really have even a chance to read it. I know Cherie, when I was running between meetings, she showed me something about the barks. Frankly speaking, I didn't know there was a discussion last week, so otherwise I will have an opportunity to be able to deal with it myself. I think I'd like to ask the Mayor and Council to give me the opportunity to, between the first and second reading, to work on these issues and bring back or incorporate a recommendation.
That was going to be my recommendation anyway, since we're at first reading. Any comments or questions from members of council?
Mayor Bell.
Councilwoman Lobos.
I actually was going to say exactly what Mr. Shahada said. I did receive your letter in an email this afternoon, but it was this afternoon, and it's quite extensive, as detailed as you have presented here today. And my recommendation is that we take some time to look at it and, of course, have staff feedback on it, the recommendations. But I appreciate you coming here.
Thank you very much. I apologize for the delay. I could not release it until our attorneys took a look at it to make sure that I was correct. And I'll be happy to work with Mr. Shahada and Ms. Kamali and any other members of the council that care to participate.
Thank you. We're going to go forward tonight, and you can make any manager and any development services recommendations that come back to council will be implemented at the second reading.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor and Council.
You're welcome. Any comments? Any questions?
No.
James is.
Well, I just certainly for second reading, but just to remind you that because we only meet once a month, Second reading will need to take place next month on the 20th, or a special call, because your moratorium will expire on August 4th, and you will need to have some regulations in place.
Well, I'm sure you guys can take care of this within 30
Okay.
days, James.
No problem.
I have the utmost confidence in you. Thank you. Thank you. Any further comments or questions from council? This is a public hearing. Any comments from the public on this item? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lobos?
Yes.
Councilman McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Mayor Bell?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now open the floor for public comment. Any members of the public that would like to come forward and comment, you have 3 minutes to comment. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Colonel Mike McCauley, 42nd Mission Support Group, Homestead Air Reserve Base. The subject is Wings over Homestead, in the sense of our air show. We're 5 months out now, and we were well on our way for a good show this year, our first one in 17 years for the local community. It's an open house, free to the public, and we're looking forward for the local community to come out and see what Homestead Air Reserve Base offers both our local community and the nation as a national asset. Again, we have the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds that are coming. We have a number of acts and other about 4 to 5 hours worth of flying and also ground activities, including the Air Force Reserve Band and a number of other things, food, you name it. It's going to be a great time. So we're looking forward for our friends and neighbors to come out to the base. The dates are the 7th and 8th of November, 2009, and again, we'll try to come by and give a report once in a while to let the council know where we're at and what we're doing. So we're well on our way, and we look forward to your attendance. Thank you.
Quick question.
Colonel McCauley, hang on.
Are you still looking for static displays?
Yes, sir, we sure are.
I talked to a few guys out there, and I've been gone for a while, so I've got several people that are interested. I'll get with you. Thank you.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Colonel McCauley. Yes, sir.
Mayor and Council, my name is Robert Lee Cox. I reside at 241 Southwest 4th Avenue, Homestead. I am the son of Miss Ernestine Seymour. I come to ask the question, what is the status of naming the street after her? What is the status of that?
We will get a status report to you right away. I know that it was in the process of having the street named after her, and I will make it a priority that we get that done very quickly.
Okay, Mayor and Council,
you had a wonderful mother, by the way.
well, thank you. We appreciate your proclamation, the prayer in her honor, and if you consider as soon as possible, because I, the son, will be out of town leaving in the next 2 weeks, so we would like to be here doing that presentation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I promise you, after tonight's meeting, I will meet with the manager. We will expedite the street naming. We have numbers, I'm sure, to get in contact with you. If Sheila, would you please make sure we have all of Mr. Seymour's contact information so that we can get in touch with him? And your mother was wonderful. I served with her in the Homestead Women's Club.
Right.
And she was just such a lady.
Thank
Such
you.
a lady.
Councilman, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you kindly.
Just for the
Councilman
record,
McCormick.
Just for the record, I spoke to Joanna about that same issue when we had our meeting on Friday, and I do want to. I also want to make a recommendation that we name the mini park after Ms. Seymour also, so the whole avenue can be named after Ms. Seymour, and also
right.
mini park.
Councilman McCormick, that's awesome. That's fabulous. Leave it up to you to think of that.
And while we're on the subject of the deceased, forefathers, also I'd like to name the avenue that Lester Plumbing sits on after Mr. Lester Dawkins also.
Oh.
And she said we have to wait till we get the new relations board put in place before we can do that. I think it had to go through them first.
Absolutely. We will filter that through the new community relations board when it's set up. But we are going to expedite the naming of Ms. Ernestine Seymour because she was already in the process and already in the works. So, Councilman McCormick, would you please work on that with the manager as well as Mrs. Shedd?
Excellent.
Thank you. And good idea about naming of the park. That's brilliant. And thank you very much for the offer of also Lester's Plumbing. Thank you, Lester Dawkins. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. God bless you all. If I would have known that, so I would have brought him forward right away. Business from the city manager?
Mayor, council members, I have several items to read, so I'm going to ask Lillian to do that for me.
Good evening. Hurricane season has begun, and in order to help residents get ready, the City of Homestead's Community Policing Unit has been distributing hurricane preparedness information at various locations. This Saturday, they will be at Lowe's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Our 2009 emergency preparedness guides are also available. Please be sure to pick up a copy today. There are some at the back table, and they'll be given out also on Saturday. Copies are also available at customer service and at the police department, and a PDF of the guide is also available on the city's website under the hurricane season 2009 section. The planting of mahogany trees on Chrome Avenue began last week.
Excellent.
And we recently took delivery of our first green street sweeper. With significant wet season rains recharging water levels in the Biscayne Aquifer, the South Florida Water Management District Governing Board last Thursday eased landscape irrigation restrictions in South Miami-Dade and Monroe counties, allowing lawn watering 2 days a week. Because of the dry conditions, we had been under emergency 1 day a week since May 7th. So as of last Thursday, it's 2 days a week. We have our 4th of July event on Saturday, obviously July 4th at the sports complex. The event will start at 12 p.m. and end with the fireworks at 9 p.m. There will be entertainment by the Caribbean Chillers, the Moms, and Music Depot. There will also be a car show, rides, and great food, and admission is free, so everyone's invited to come out. The organization that records our city council meetings, Fellowship House, General Larry's back there, will begin recording our city council meetings in HD starting in July. Right. So they'll be recorded in HD and transmitted as such, starting the next meeting in July. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Lillian. Thank you. Anything else?
Mayor, just to clarify, people who will see or hear about the item green street sweeper. The green is not the color. Green is it's environmentally friendly. And the reason they call it green, normal street sweepers use hydraulic hoses, and if there's a broken hose, they contaminate the ground and stuff. This one uses air, so if there's a air leak, it doesn't really do anything. But
Very
it's just
nice.
That's why we decided to go green.
Very nice. And I think it's always an irony when they ease water restrictions, because when they ease the water restrictions, you don't need to water. So, thank you anyway. Thank you very much. Councilwoman Lobos.
Thank you, Mayor Bell. And I have several items to discuss tonight, and I apologize, but I usually don't speak much, so I'm going to think that this is my once or twice a year. I have a lot of business to discuss with the council. The first item that I'd like to discuss, and I'm going to hand out, is a state attorney's newspaper article. And the reason why I want to discuss it is because I want to clarify to my fellow council members exactly what it is, what happened, and what the outcome of this is. You have in front of you a letter that I sent to the villages of Homestead, 766 residents in the villages. And it was in response to an item that had come before the Homeowners Association. And I gave you a sample of it so that you can read for yourself what it was. The newspaper article stated that I had been reported to the state attorney's office, which is true. And the name of the person in the article, Cindy Stengoni, who sits on the Villages of Homeowners Association board. She said she contacted the state attorney's office to complain about this letter. The complaint stated that I had violated the Sunshine Law because I had met, and I do state in the letter, by the way, that I met with Mayor Bell and that she claims that it was outside of the sunshine. The state attorney's office did call me, and he stated that he did not see a violation and saw that I clearly would not commit a violation, and then informed 766 residents that I had committed a violation. And indeed, he said my motives were clear. Now, I thank him because he did give me the benefit of having, a little bit of thought process. But I wanted to share this letter with you to inform you that what I had met, to my fellow council members, what I had met with Mayor Bell was about addressing issues in my community. And the reason why I put her name on the letter is because sometimes you get representatives who come out to the community and they tell you they're working on it, but they really haven't met with staff members. They haven't met haven't put the process in place to actually address these issues, and I wanted to show that indeed I had met with staff members and I had initiated a process that if we started receiving complaints that I would have the support of the city staff. I have received many, many compliments from residents in the villages, and since then have also received many, many complaints through emails to address things that are going on in our community. So, clarify that matter, the state attorney's office, and I know that I've spoken to Mr. Weiss, said that there was no violation. On to the second item that I have for you tonight. In your packets, I don't know if you guys have picked up, the council members have picked up your mail. We received a letter from FEMA. Let me get that. Excuse me. It was dated May 29th, 2009, and it's from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and it's addressed to Mayor Bell, but we were all copied on it. And it's an update to a 1972 flood insurance study and flood insurance map update. I have had residents call me to inquiring to see if their flood zone has changed. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because an ordinance has indeed been passed by Planning and Zoning Board and is coming to council in July. Homeland Security, the Department of Homeland Security gave us a sample ordinance. Our deadline is September 11th, and they want us to implement the changes of the map. Now, you could care less about that. You want to know whether your house is in one of the changes of the flood zone, so that's why I wanted to discuss it tonight. Sheree Kamali has agreed to prepare a list of where the changes have been made. The letter to us does clearly state that there have been no significant changes that have been made to the city of Homestead. But it's very difficult, the map that they sent us is very difficult to read to see where the changes have happened. So Sheree, Ms. Kamali, you have agreed that you're going to condense that information, have a presentation to the council at the next meeting so that we can recognize where the changes within our community have occurred, even though they're very minimal. In the meantime, I know residents want to know, and if you want, you can wait till the next council meeting. If not, Ms. Kamali has agreed that if you send myself, wlobos@cityofhomestead.com, or an email to her with your name, it has to be an email format. We cannot answer phone calls. With your name and house address, inquiring whether your house falls within that change of the flood insurance map and flood insurance study, that she can address that and look at the map and see whether you do fall in that category or not. Yes?
Is there a
Councilwoman
way
Sierra.
that we could put a link maybe on our website so that people can look it up?
I did ask that. Councilwoman Sierra, the map is very extensive.
Okay.
And until she compiles the information, if the information is a condensed format that is easily read, that's something that we can approach you to see if it can be updated on the website.
Okay, thank you.
With the city manager, of course, looking at it. Okay, the next issue that I have to share with you is, we just finished our legislative session in Tallahassee. And I wanted to share a memo which gives updated 2009 legislation. There's two items that I want the council, mayor, and the community to be aware about. This memo goes into detail, but basically it's House Bill 167. It creates the Energy Efficient Appliance Rebate Program. There's a couple of things that the legislation authorized this rebate program, but then didn't address the appointments of the actual committee. So there's no committee to look at this item yet. So we're waiting to see what that comes about, whether it cancels or repels House Bill number 167. But City of Homestead, we're looking to see if it's feasible to implement an energy efficient appliance rebate program. I said some confusion with the appointees not being confirmed with 2009 legislative session has happened, so stay tuned. But that's the direction that we're moving in with Ms. Barbara Quinones and, of course, the city manager and the rest of the staff. I wanted you to also be aware of House Bill 29, which Ms. Barbara Quinones and I lobbied for during the FMEA conference and the time that we spent in Tallahassee. And this makes the stealing of the utility service during a grow house operation a first-degree misdemeanor. And what it gives us the ability to do is to be in line to recover cost and loss of cost for that operation. Ability to recover loss due to stealing of electric power during the grow house operation. They cannot, and Chief, please correct me, Mr. Manager, through the city manager, if this is correct. When a grow house operation is happening, they obviously can't be on our meter because the spike in energy will be a red flag that something illegal is probably happening at that house. So what they have to do is they have to bypass the system and steal the electricity, the energy. What was happening in the past is we were having several cases of this, but we really couldn't recover any of the loss because it wasn't viewed as a first-degree misdemeanor. So this is what it gives us the ability to do. And since we lobbied for it, I wanted to say that it passed, and that was a successful item on behalf of Ms. Barbara Quinones and I.
Let me take 1 minute to congratulate and compliment Councilwoman Lobos. I got an email from our lobbyist in Tallahassee, Mr. Bob Levy, and he said that Wendy was on the case, and she was there, and she was, I'm here, and they worked this, and we got the email that it had been passed, and he said that Wendy did a fabulous job. So I want to congratulate you, Councilwoman Lobos.
Thank you, Mayor.
Job well done on that.
Thank you. The last item is the Customer Service Task Force Team memo. At the last council meeting, I informed you that we were putting together a team, and at the top of the memo, you see the listed members is myself, Mr. Shahada, Ms. Fares, the Assistant City Manager, Mr. Brea, the Public Works Director, Mr. Jerry Estrada, the General Services Director, Ms. Barbara Quinones, the Utilities Director, and Mr. Richard Vega, the Customer Service Superintendent. The purpose of this task force was to look at the procedures of customer service and to see where we could improve. So I wanted to give you a report. We have had 2 meetings so far. The first current action item that you see there is we addressed the customer service phone line. We discovered that during power failures, that this caused the phone line, the direct line that people called to receive customer service, it caused it to reset itself and to go down. This meant, and I don't know if you received emails about this, when people called the line and we had a flicker in the power, that you were told that you were first in line and you were next. 58 minutes later, you were still on the line, and the recording was telling you you're first in line and you're next. Obviously, people were getting very frustrated. They didn't understand why an hour later the system was still telling them that they were next in line to be helped. So when we realized that the power failure was causing that interruption in the phone line, General Services, the solution that we have come up and implemented, General Services and Utilities Department have coordinated with proper departments to establish a stable backup power source to ensure that the phone line is always powered, so that's no longer an issue. While we were looking at that, we also recognized that the voice operation was a little bit confusing, so we worked to streamline phone line options. During the next couple of days, General Services is in the process of re-recording voice options. The options have been condensed. Options are more clearly defined. Callers now have the option to select a choice to report an outage. Before, you were told that if you had an outage to report, that you were to hang up the line, and it gives you a number to call. Now is one of the options. You can just press 2, and it sends you directly to the line where you can report an outage. And the recording will now also be offered in English and in Spanish. The second item that I wanted to discuss with you is an October 2007 ordinance. This is the existing situation. There's an existing ordinance that requires a $100 garbage can deposit for all new accounts. This ordinance was never uniformly enforced. Recent enforcement caused some customers to have a charge of $100 on their utility bill. We had some complaints because they did not understand, and we also had included the ordinance, which dated back to October 2007, and it was a little bit confusing for people when they received this charge on their utility bill. So what we did as a task force team is we asked Public Works Department to do a little study and review. They did do a review of the number of garbage cans that are reported missing during a year. This ordinance was implemented to recover cost of when customers close the account and take the garbage cans with them. The department reported that out of 11,000 customers, there is an average of 16 cans that are reported missing on a monthly basis. Statistically, this is considered a minimal impact, and therefore an ordinance revision is being prepared by the city attorneys to bring to council to recommend that this ordinance be canceled. In place, the task force team recommends a public awareness campaign to reduce the number of customers that take the garbage cans with them. When the ordinance comes forward, I know we'll have a discussion, but it is really the recommendation of the team that we look into doing away with this ordinance. It's very minimal, and I believe that the headache that we're causing, even if you have good credit, you're being charged this $100 garbage can deposit. So anyway, that ordinance is being prepared and will be ready for you by the next council meeting. The two items that we have, now that we've resolved these two issues, we're going on to the next item. We're going to look at opening and closing accounts, the process of that, and payment methods. And the purpose of that is to reduce customer waiting time by automating the majority of functions of general services. So that's going to be the next function. And I just have to share with you, Mayor, that the team, when we got together, we were so excited, and I know I have 3 members of that team here, that we were all over the place. I mean, we wanted to resolve every issue that had ever been presented to the City of Homestead, and I had to say, okay, I know that we want to do it and we want to do it fast, but we need to look at item by item to make sure that we're thorough in our discussion, and in the solutions that we bring forth for you will be lasting. It won't be just quick fixes for the next year, and then in the next couple of years we have more problems because we acted fast. So I appreciate your patience, and this is our first report.
Excellent work. You've been very busy, Councilman Lobos. This is very, very good.
Mayor.
Yes, Councilman.
This is wonderful. What a great report, and how much you were able to accomplish in just 2 meetings is absolutely fabulous. I do have 2 questions.
Sure.
In reference to the first one about the recording being offered in English and Spanish, is there a way, or can we look at adding Creole as one of the options? Is that something that could become available?
Councilwoman Sierra, we did discuss that because, as you know, in Miami-Dade County, it is very common that the 3 languages are offered. And at the next meeting, I'll have a report. Mr. Estrada, I don't know, we did talk about, we didn't know whether the system was able to handle 3 options, that we knew we were able to branch out into English and Spanish, but we really weren't sure whether it was going to be able to do English, Spanish, and Creole. And you said that when you had the people upgrading the voice system, that was something that you were going to clarify. So through the city manager, if Mr. Estrada can answer that.
Actually, it's one of the action items that next time we meet, Jerry is going to be verifying if the system has the capacity
to do the
3. We knew for sure that we have the capacity for the 2 languages, but and we discussed this issue because we like to have Creole too.
Thank you.
Mr. Shahada, I would recommend, and what I've heard is I like the best, is that the default language is English, and then if you need Spanish, you press 2. Instead of if you need English, press 1. If you need Spanish, press 2. Just assume everybody speaks English, and then Spanish, press 1, and then Creole, press 2. I think that simplifies and clarifies it a lot.
Mayor Bell, yes, that's actually how it is set up. If you call, it is in English, and you have the option to then press 2 for Spanish. And if we have the capability of doing Creole, I'm sure then you can press 3 for Creole.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Actually, Mayor, I was going to recommend another option, but Councilwoman Lopez didn't think it was a good idea.
No Arabic.
I have one more question, if I may.
Councilwoman
In
Zero.
reference to the $100 that were charged to some customers, will those funds be refunded once we establish this ordinance?
If I may, Mayor Bell? Councilwoman Sierra, that is something, as the ordinance as it's being put together, that's something that the team recommended happen.
Yes.
As the ordinance is being put together, I don't know how that language is being implemented in there, but it's certainly the direction that we gave that we thought would be a good thing to do.
Wonderful, thank you.
I did get one phone call on that, and this is a longtime customer, and all of a sudden had $100 on their bill. So it was very confusing, so I think that it should be reimbursed. Thank you so much, Councilwoman Lobos. Excellent report. And by the way, when it comes to my business, I'm also going to deal with this item. Thank you. Councilman McCormick?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bell. I have 2 items for this evening. The first item I have is that the work on many parks has began, like I stated earlier in the CRA meeting, and the delivery and the installation of the equipment will be in about 2 or 3 weeks. So we're looking at about a month turnaround before that project can 100% be completed. And also, we have received the equipment for the skate park, and matter of fact, the work on that has started today. So thank you to Mayor Bell, Councilwoman Sierra, and also Robert and those guys. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you so much, Councilman McCormick, and thank you for your good ideas as well. Appreciate that.
For your support.
Pleasure. Councilman Nelson.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody at the Utilities Department. I was out there last month, and they gave me a thorough tour of the electric plant, and they took the time to show me everything. I'm really appreciative for that. Second, I was invited out to South Dade High School to attend the awards Scholarship Awards program, and I'd like to just congratulate all of the Scholarship Award winners at South Dade High School. Last month, I also attended a Strategies for Safe Communities seminar up in Deerfield, and I'm looking forward to bringing in some new ideas to our police department and trying to get some things done. I'd also like to mention that July 7th is the ribbon cutting at the James Archer Smith Park.
Yes.
From at 10 to 11 a.m., July 7th. That's it.
Thank you very much. And if anybody gets a chance to drive by that park, it's just beautiful.
Beautiful.
So beautiful. Councilwoman Sierra.
I only have 3 items for a change. I do want to say, Councilman McCormick, I was bringing a question from a resident wanting to know when the skate park was getting started, so I'm glad that you responded, and I'll be able to speak to this resident this evening and let him know exactly when the skate park's getting started.
Michael?
His name is Michael Sierra, yes it is. 3 things that I want to share with you all. One very exciting thing for many of us is that our city channel, HTV 97, is up and running. And there are a few people that I need to thank for this.
Sound.
Let's take a look. While you're getting that set up, Sheila, you let me know. I want to thank Jerry Estrada from General Services Director, Yaniel Corrales, ITS, CB Joseph from ITS, Hector Fernandez from Comcast, Scott Robbins, City Attorney, and Sheila Paulshed for all their hard work in making this a reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman, for spearheading that as well.
This is great.
Good job.
Looks great.
And we're working on programming for 97, a lot of programming.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We're doing a lot more programming, and we'll bring updates on that at the next meeting, exactly what we're going to be having. But you'll see the scroll on the bottom, and it goes giving the forecast, et cetera. So it's looking a lot more professional. I'm so excited about this, Sheila. When you called me today, I thought I was going to jump out of my car and just have a little dance there.
I'm going to have to switch from satellite to cable so I can get
I know, me too.
Mr. Manager.
Mayor, council members, I know one of the meetings, maybe the last meeting, it was mentioned that the sound system was not.
Yes.
And we thought was issue with our equipment. It wasn't really our equipment. It was problem with the Comcast hub all the way to 116th Street, I think.
Southwest 216th hub, once they replaced it, our audio came back. So it was actually there on their end. So.
Thank you for researching.
This is great. It looks so beautiful, and the color scheme and everything is so in line.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item I would like to share with everyone. Somerset South Homestead is the new charter school that's coming to the Sacred Heart site. There are some cards in the back. I'm looking back there and I don't see any now. I know I saw some people taking them earlier. There are some back there still? Okay. There is a parent information night coming up Thursday, June 18th from 6 to 7 p.m. at the school. The school is opening up K through 8th grade. Any families that are interested, on the card it tells you exactly what you need to do to apply. For those of you that are watching from home, I'll say the phone number to call is 305-248-8684, and their website is Somerset, SOHO for southhomestead.com, www.somersetsoho.com. Thank you. Last but not least, I wanted to share with the council on our last education meeting, one of the things that we felt very strongly about is that we're so proud of what Councilman McCormick did with doing these scholarships for the students, and we felt that as a committee we could do something like that, not just for students, but for schools. One of the things that we are going to be working on is on an educational foundation. I've already spoken with our city attorneys to figure out how we can get this started. The foundation is going to be focusing mostly on schools within our city limits and how we as a municipality can assist them in these times of money crunch from the district. But we're also focusing on not just public schools, private schools, as well as charter schools. So that's something that will be coming up. Thank you. Wanted to thank everyone that was involved for my communications workshop that we had a couple weeks ago. Actually, the TV channel was one of the items that came out of that and how we were working on it. I don't know if anyone on council or anyone here has any comments about that, any questions on what were the outcomes?
It was very good. In fact, I know one of the outcomes was that we were going to utilize the local papers. We're going to be consistent as far as advertising things that are happening in our community, such as the music in the park and the car shows. We're going to be utilizing the news leader as well as the neighbor section of the Herald. In fact, if you look, we've already started utilizing our 2 papers. And so whichever paper you purchase, you're going to be able to see things that are happening. And so we're trying our best to get the word out into the community, everything that's happening within the community. But we also have the website as well.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And that's it.
Thank you.
I was short and sweet today.
Oh, very good. Very good. Councilwoman Walvin.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. At the last council meeting, I wasn't here because I was in Washington, D.C., and it was a very, very busy 3-day trip, but we packed a lot into it. I was invited to go there in the first place as a spokesperson for the Biscayne Everglades Trailway, and I attended one full-day forum at the Rails to Trails offices. The next day, the committee, which included me, met at the Rayburn and the Cannon buildings, and Senator Nelson, he addressed the group that following morning. We also met with, the Dade County Coalition met with Congressman Mario Diaz-Balart and Congresswoman Eliana Ross-Ledinen. Thursday morning, I was fortunate to have a meeting with the Department of Transportation regarding monies that will be available next year in 2010 for trailways. So they made me feel so hopeful and encouraged. They were so impressed with the Biscayne Everglades Trailway. They had all the information. They had a bigger file than I did. So I'm very, very grateful for that meeting. And then I came home, of course, Thursday afternoon. But trying to go fast because we're later than we normally are.
Okay, take your time.
Thank you. It was my honor to be the speaker for the South Dade Skills Center, one of the speakers for the South Dade Skills Center graduation. For those of you who have never attended, it's just it really fills your heart to see these people work so hard to put on an event for the students and the parents. It's tremendous, and it's just my honor to have been there. Ms. Homestead, Brittany Baronis, asked me to announce a karaoke event at the Chrome Avenue Cafe, formerly known as the Main Street Cafe. This is going to be on June 27th from 6 to 10 p.m. Brittany's platform is helping children with autism through music therapy. So all proceeds from the fundraiser will go to Autism Speaks. Of course, as everyone knows, that's a dear, dear organization to me, as my grandson does have autism. So I will be assisting her with the event. If you need information, the way it goes is that you pay $5, I think, to sing, and then if somebody nominates you, you have to raise money to either not sing or sing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure that they'll pay big bucks for me not to sing. But I was going to ask you if we could put that on the city website with the Autism Speaks, because it is happening downtown Chrome Avenue. So I would like for you to consider that, please, Mr. Manager. And as it's already been mentioned tonight, we did lose 2 people in our community, and I attended both the funerals. Miss Ernestine Seymour, she was my friend. It was my privilege to have worked with her for many years at the soup kitchen and also through Little Angels. She was a teacher here for 42 years. I believe she was your teacher, Chief. And she was also Mayor Wallace's teacher as well. She was a clerk at her church for over 60 years, and she was the treasurer for the soup kitchen. So she will be missed. She will be deeply, deeply missed by the community. And the second service was for Mr. Lester Dawkins. I'm glad I got there early. There was standing room only. I mean, it was just amazing, amazing how many people came out to show their love and support for the family and for his legacy. Mr. and Mrs. Dawkins were one of the first people that my mother met when my father came here in the early 60s to Homestead. Excuse me. And my mother, these are my mother's words. My mother says, Lester was always a fair and honest man, and that he was, and he will be deeply, deeply missed, and may he rest in peace. And I wanted to give you all an update on the video, the death threat video about me, which was placed on YouTube. So I wasn't able to announce this at the COW meeting last week because I had to get, they wanted to verify that the subpoenas had been served. But the subpoenas were served to YouTube by the State Attorney's Office last Monday, requesting information and identification as to who put the video up and who placed it on the YouTube site. This afternoon, Mr. Scruggs, Richard Scruggs, called me, and he told me that there is a deadline and we should hear something either by Friday or the first of next week. So I want to thank all of you for your cards. I even received some letters, and of course the emails and the phone calls. And it means a great deal to me and to my family. It gives me strength, and I hope that this never happens to anyone else. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Burgess?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start by saying that the Mayor's Youth Council is still looking for members, first of all, and for nonprofit organizations and scholarship organizations or programs for our Get Hype program, which will be the second Saturday of September, if I remember correctly off the top of my head. And this is an organization, a gathering where we're going to have nonprofit organizations that are there so that the kids, sophomores, juniors, and seniors in high school can get their community hours in. And this is an opportunity for organizations that need free labor, for lack of a better term, to come out and show themselves to the kids and give them an opportunity. Secondly, I still have a opening on the Homestead Community Image Advisory Board, and we meet the second Tuesday of every month at 8:30 a.m., usually for about 1 hour. We went to every other month now with the change of schedule. And then thirdly, on Friday, June the 26th, the Speedway, Mr. Curtis Gray called me to come out and participate in a program that they're running out there where they're trying to get kids that like to race on the highway or even adults. They're trying to get them off the highway, and they've had great success. They've been doing it for several weeks now, or a couple months almost, actually, and they're getting a good response, and it's something that all communities in South Florida should welcome, because it gives these people that so desire to go fast on a highway an opportunity to come do it in a safe and a safe environment where they're not going to hurt anybody innocently, and it teaches them a few things, as they have some experts out there to help them too. So on Friday, June the 26th, I believe it's at 8 p.m. is going to be their kickoff ceremony that night, and they're going to have Daryl Gwynn, who was a great dragster who was paralyzed. He's going to come down kind of as the Grand Marshal, I guess is what you would call him. So June the 26th, Friday night, out at the racetrack. So and so that'll be going on there, and that's just another example of the Speedway helping, as they do with many other things around the entire southeast region of Florida. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Yeah, I wish I could be there, but I'm going to be out of town. Curtis Gray called and wanted me to kick it off, but I'm sure you can handle it, and it'll be great. It's really a great alternative for kids that want to race their cars. They can go race them in the track where it's safe for everybody. So it's a great alternative. I would like to announce 2 appointments to the Education Committee. We have Cecilia McGrath and Thomas Nardstedt. I'd like a motion, please. I'll second. The item has been properly moved and seconded. And any comments on these 2 appointees?
They're a great addition to a wonderful group. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're quite welcome. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes carry. Vice Mayor already mentioned the opening for the Community Image Advisory Board with 1 seat. We also have an opening for the Historic Preservation Board. We have 1 opening. And I would also like to go ahead now and announce that there will be 7 positions for the new Community Relations Board. And I would like to go ahead and start getting some applications in as soon as possible, so that when we're finished passing the ordinance, we are ready to transition the people and get the board up and going as quickly as possible. And, when you have ordinances, it does take 3 readings, and so that takes it a little bit longer, but we can have those positions ready to go. So I'll be very pleased about that. There are so many things that I have attended. I'm not even going to go into them, but a lot of them have been with the military. I've been to change of command ceremonies and ribbon pinnings and promotion ceremonies, and it's just been very, very busy, as well as a flag retirement ceremony I participated in yesterday that was beautiful. I spoke at the Memorial Day event the VFW invited me to, and it was a beautiful event. And we also entertained the chair of the Secretary of Elder Affairs at Galata, and then we brought the Secretary of Elder Affairs over to take a look at our Senior Citizen Center. And he was very, very impressed with what we're doing in the city of Homestead. Also did radio interviews for National Public Radio, NPR, concerning the drop in the values of the city of Homestead's properties. We're looking at an 18 to 20% drop, which means our budget is going to take a huge, huge hit. So we're going to be having to make some big cuts, and Councilman Lobos, as chair of the Finance and Enterprise Committee, I'm sure you'll be putting your heads together with the manager, Ms. Joanna Faddis, in the Budget Department, and come back with recommendations to this mayor and council. But there are things that we're going to have to look into trimming, and we're going to have to get very, very tight in the future, as if we're not already. We have been very streamlined, so I look forward to that as well. I have some really good news to announce. I was Dr. Larry Feldman's appointee to the school naming meeting in downtown Miami, and went there, and it was almost unanimous. It was 4-1, I believe, in favor of Gateway Environmental Learning Center. So that's the name that's going to be going before the school board, is Gateway Environmental Learning Center. And that's just a beautiful name that represents all of the community. I think I must have made some of the Villages of Homestead Homeowners Association members angry, because I heard at the last Homeowners Association meeting that the Villages HOA banned Mayor Bell from their clubhouse because I did not support the name Audubon. So, yes, it's not middle school. It really happened. It really happened that they unanimously banned Mayor Bell from their clubhouse because I supported the name Gateway. Honest to God, this really happened. So I also know that it was unanimous, and one of the members that voted to ban us was the same person who filed a complaint against Councilman Lobos as well as myself. And if anybody would like the names of the HOA members, I'm sure we can get that to you guys. But Cindy Stingoni also made a complaint. When she made a complaint against Councilman Lobos, she also made the complaint against me. And what they did is they make the complaint to the Ethics Commission, but it's not an ethics violation. It's actually a legal violation, and it went to the State's Attorney's Office. I also got a call from the State's Attorney's Office telling me it's fine, that a complaint had been registered. And you wouldn't think you'd have to explain this after this length of time. But if someone tells me that their trash didn't get picked up, or there's some trash problems, or some people aren't getting their recycling picked up, or there's some minor problems, and Councilman Lobos shares it with me, and we get Milton Bailey on it, it's nothing we're voting on. It's nothing on an upcoming agenda. It's nothing that's going to be on an agenda that we're going to vote on. And I think it was very mean-spirited. And in fact, I know two people who told me that they were very, very surprised that Cindy Stingoni would do such a thing. It just wasn't like her character, and they felt like maybe somebody had put her up to it. But the bottom line is it happened, and we're aware of it. And so there's some petty stuff going on, real petty. But what's sad about it is we're doing such a good job in the city of Homestead. We're working so hard to make a better Homestead for you, and it's these petty distractions where we have to answer the phone calls, and they try to attack us, and usually they attack out of jealousies. They don't, the fact that we're getting so much work done. We're getting more work done in the past year and a half, I think, than we have in the past 10 years. Linear parks. I mean, there's just so much that I'll give you an update on. But, I mean, schools and on and on and on. I mean, that school that's right there in the Keysgate area across from the Village's clubhouse, that school is there because of me with the school, along with the developer of Keysgate who donated the 39 acres of land. I fought for that school as the first school within the EFBD, and residents in the Keysgate community are still paying almost $1 million assessment on that. So I just wanted to let you all know that. Also, in the news lately, I've been getting a lot of this, I know people say I've been getting a lot of phone calls, I've been getting a lot of emails. I really have, lots, telling me to hold strong and keep it up. And there was a press conference last week in front of our city hall with the NAACP and Victor Curry and the former members of the Human Relations Board, Rosemary Fuller, Pat Millerson, and a few other members of the community, a lot from Florida City. Of course, Curry is from North Miami. And they issued a list of demands. And then in the list of demands, of course, they say they want to work with us. I promise you, nobody who really wants a solution, nobody who really wants a resolution issues a list of demands. Nobody sits down at the table to talk with lists of demands. That's for show. That's for the press, and that's for the media. I don't take kindly to being bullied or intimidated. I don't take kindly to it at all. And I spoke with Channel 6 that many of you saw. I spoke with Channel 7 that many of you saw. Quotes in the newspaper. And by the way, I want to compliment both the Miami Herald, as they're sitting here, and the South Dade News Leader for both of you printing what I consider to be very fair reporting, where you got both sides and you got it right, unlike another paper that we won't talk about. So you got it right, and I do appreciate it. So I wanted to talk about that. But so I did have a call about this, and there, as we said before, there's a lot going on in town. The one thing that I don't want is to take away from the good works that we're doing in the city of Homestead. And the protest or the press conference that the NAACP called, Victor Curry said in the public that he knew how to take the lead, and he was basically taking the lead from Ms. Rosemary Fuller and Pat Millerson. And I just think it's interesting to note that Pat Millerson lives in Kendall and Rosemary Fuller lives in unincorporated Dade County. And so this is another reason why I really wanted to have Homestead residents, because we need to have Homestead residents affecting change in Homestead. And it's really easy for outsiders to come in and tell you how to conduct your business and how to run your business. But we're 60,000 residents. I'm sure we can find some good, strong community relations board members in the city of Homestead. But some of the list of demands, and this all goes back to an issue 7 months ago, for real, 7 months ago, that in a parade for the Veterans Day, an organization rode with one single Confederate flag. So when this became an issue, it was brought to us by Rosemary Fuller, and it was brought not to the Human Relations Board, it was brought by her from the Human Relations Board. And then it just, we tried to facilitate discussion. We had a meeting in council chambers so that we could talk about it. We could explain to them that it's not the City of Homestead's parade, it just is in the City of Homestead. We don't organize the parade, we don't fund the parade, it's not our parade, and it was demanded that the City of Homestead ban this organization called the Sons of Confederate Veterans, that we ban them. We can't. That's against the law. It's free speech, they're constitutionally protected, and that I wouldn't have the authority to do it anyway. I wouldn't have the authority, none of us up here would have the authority to do that. So we pushed it over to the Military Affairs Committee of the Chamber of Commerce where it began. They've been wonderful, saying, hey, it is our responsibility. In spite of all that, the NAACP has still tried to lay it on the shoulders of the City of Homestead. And not only have they tried to lay it on the shoulders of the City of Homestead, but both 7 and 6 said, it isn't about this group, it isn't about the flag, it's about Mayor Bell. I mean, when did that happen? You know, 7 of us were in a parade, it's not our parade, and so I am going, because of that, and they issued a demand that I, Mayor and Council, apologize. Well, I said this on 6, and I said it on 7, and I'll say it here. I will not apologize for something I did not do. I will not do a disservice to the members of my community and apologize on their behalf for something that we did not do or something that on anything that we have not done or committed. I think that what has happened is sad, that the city was being attacked actually by a board that was purporting to serve it, and I think that's always a shame. But we're going to move forward on this. I'm not going to respond at all to the demands of the NAACP. I'm just not going to respond. They said that they're going to give us 30 days to respond, and, well, they can take all the time that they want. I'm not going to respond to those attacks, actually, and those demands. So I just wanted you all to know what was going on and keeping you apprised, because these people want to keep it in the news, they want to keep it in the press, and 7 months later they still want to keep it in the press. There's just a lot happening, but I just want you to know we're tough up here, we're strong, and we can take these attacks. We take them all the time. but I want you also to know that we're going to continue doing what's right for the citizens of Homestead. How this attack went from a parade that goes through our town to being all about Linda Bell, I don't know. It's what I've been saying from the start. It's way more political than it is about a flag. And I think Victor Curry proved it himself, and I think it's been proved over and over again when they keep saying it's about Mayor Bell. Go figure that one out. So definitely is far more political than it is about a flag. So anyway, I wanted to just give you a briefing on what was happening, but I will tell you there's lots of good news. I'm glad to hear about the mahoganies on Chrome. So now we're foresting our Chrome Avenue. So we're creating a linear park. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody. Thank you for your patience with us tonight. Ms. Jones, if you'd like to make a comment, you may go to the microphone.
I'm Lois Jones, and I live at 2408 San Remo Circle, Homestead. I just have a curious question for you, Mayor Bell. You just said that you were banned from the Audubon Club? Well, my homeowners association, we meet at the Audubon Club. We were planning to invite you. Can I not invite you? Can you come if we invite you?
Go ahead and invite me. I'd be delighted to come.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll see what happens. One final thing. City of Homestead begins warning period for photo enforcement program. I'm sure you all saw the cameras on US 1 and Campbell Drive. So watch out. Start stopping at those red lights. Also, I got an appreciation letter from General Hector Pagan, Brigadier U.S. Army Commanding, for thanking us for appreciating the military and Military Appreciation Month. And also, I want to mention one last thing that we did throw, along with the military affairs committees of chambers of commerces and members of the community. The City of Homestead helped throw a big bash for the promotion party for General Binger, and it was really nice. So anyway, thank you everybody so much for coming out here. It's a two-hour meeting. It's a long meeting in our time these days, but thank you very much. With no further business to attend to, this meeting is adjourned.